Hi, my name's Erin Curran. I'm a course supervisor and I'm in training on the sound system today.
And I'm Rajan Singh. I'm the presentation manager team leader, and I'm going to be instructing Erin on the proper use of the rack and interacting with the presentation manager. Great, let's get started by opening up the rack, which contains all of the audiovisual equipment. And first we get the rack key from the production manager's desk, who currently is Lourdes. Great, why don't you open it?
Fantastic.
Just pull out the key 1 second. I just want to show them what it says on the label. So we have a couple of sets, I believe. This particular set says presentation manager on it, and I believe there's another set that says rack on it. And it actually has two keys. One is the actual rack key itself, and the other one is where this actually opens up everything except for room D. And we need this because we have some failover laptops that we currently keep inside storage. So that's what that's for. Okay, great. Let's just put this down for a second. And this is the rack system. We don't care about most of this, but I'll talk about the important things. We have, basically, this is the computer that holds all the slide decks. It's got the hard drive and the whole, it's actually a small computer, right? This is the screen for the computer. We used to pull this drawer out for the keyboard and the mouse, but it's gotten a little bit loose. We're trying to use that when it makes a lot of noise, as you can hear. So we use this wireless keyboard and this wireless mouse, but either one still works. Okay? And the other thing that we should note here is this Clear One device. This handles all the audio. Okay? And then we keep all the devices in the drawer. So we've got one body pack mic. Erin has the other body pack mic, and we have two more body pack mics. So we have 4 body pack mics total, and we also have 2 handheld wireless mics. And we'll talk about the other equipment in a little bit. Okay? And none of this other stuff really matters. We don't really use it. Let me make one note here. So I'm currently wearing lav number 2. And so this is the transmitter, right, of the audio. And it's picked up by the receiver, lav 2. And they're both at the same frequency, 551.000 megahertz, which actually says the same number on there. Okay? So that's all you need to know about the technology. Okay.
There are 6 receivers, 3 of the lavaliers there, the 4th lavalier here, and the 2 handhelds on that side.
Okay, since we're talking about this, let's just make one point. We do have a 7th device in this box. Let me, so we have 7 devices, but we only have 6 receivers, right? And basically we labeled it HH3, handheld wireless 3, but there is no HH3 up there. So the thing to note here is that it says lav 4. So it's actually on the same frequency as lav 4. So never use these two simultaneously. Otherwise you'll hear this strange hissing sort of noise, right? But if you ever do need a third handheld wireless microphone, you have that option. Just don't use this and this at the same time. Okay? All right, great. So enough about that. Great. So let's talk about the audio operation of the body pack mic. Then we'll move to the handheld wireless mic and the hardwired mic, and we'll get to video in a little bit. Okay, so when the forum leader or the advanced course leader, or whichever leader wants to clip on the body pack mic, also called the lavalier mic, he typically clips it on here, right? And then sometimes he'll wrap the cable around a couple of times, and he'll snake it underneath his shirt. It'll come through like that and pop out like this, and then it should be facing outward like that, right? If it's underneath or it has it backwards, such that like this is the actual microphone part of it. You see how it's getting louder. Sometimes they clip it on backwards or whatever. Always observe this and make sure that it's like this and facing up. Now, the very non-technical way of increasing the volume in the system is to move it up higher on your shirt. That actually does work. Okay, we never want to increase the gain on the body pack mic itself. I know that we've done that before, and it's created massive feedback issues. So don't ever do that. I will show you later another way to increase the volume on the rack itself using this Clear One device, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Since we're talking about lavalier microphone placement, on guys it's very easy because guys typically wear a button-down shirt and you just place it right there above one of their buttons, right? on females is a little bit more difficult because females tend to wear more complicated clothing than men. And so in this particular case, Erin had no pockets. So she has to actually, she would have to hold it. Right now we have it clipped on the back of her head. So never do that because that's weird, but that is a good demonstration. So typically we can clip it here for women. But sometimes women wear jackets and they put it on their collar, and the collar is very floppy. So you'll hear a lot of variation in the sound. So you always want to make sure that you can clip it onto some stable part of their shirt, right? Sometimes if they don't have a jacket, they'll have like this big V, and so it keeps so if you clip it anywhere on the top of their shirt, it's very far from the mouth. So you want to get it as close to the mouth as possible. Okay, so a little bit of fun with women's clothing. Yes. Okay, good.
I have a question. Is this microphone, like the microphones that are handheld, it has to be placed directly in front of the mouth? Is this one of the mics that works on picking up vibration more than sound?
I don't think so. I mean, this is an omnidirectional mic. We used to have an issue where when the forum leader would turn their head, you couldn't hear anything. It got a lot softer. But a few years ago, they replaced it with an omnidirectional microphone, so it picks it up in all directions, whether you have your head this way and that way. I've never heard the question about vibration before.
Okay.
I mean, it's just an audio thing.
Got it. Okay.
So continuing with the operations of the body pack mic, let me demonstrate. Keep in mind that sometimes you'll get a body pack mic with no clip. Never hand this to a leader because they just can't do anything with it unless they have a pocket. So if this was the last body pack mic, you can easily transfer a clip. You can just pull this clip out and then stick it on there. But let's work with the one that does have a clip. And in fact, this is a good demonstration here. So this one has the clip but no cable. This one has no clip but it has a cable. So let's actually demonstrate taking the cable out, right? I better do this.
Okay.
Yeah. So first to pull the cable out, you just pull right here. Watch very carefully. It just comes right out. So this is like the kind of thing where it goes in and out like that, right? And that loosens it. Now let me put this one down, pick this one up. Now it's a little funny. You should always practice this a few times before your course. You stick it there and you just kind of twist it until you find the sweet spot. There, boom, push it and you hear the click. And now you just test it and it's good. That's it. It is now tight. Okay. To turn it on, you have this piece of plastic which you can move down or further down. You don't have to worry. Don't ever worry about these buttons. These are more for the settings within the body pack mic, which we never want to play with. Okay, so let me just hide those for right now. Then you just hold and press. Now it's live. This is now live, and if I just press it, it's now mute. See, there's no sound, and then press it again, so that's a toggle switch to mute or live. And then if you want to turn it off, never turn it off all the way from green. In that case, oh, that's why. I think this might be the only microphone that we have that actually makes that weird noise. So let me turn it on again, hold and press. It's always best to go from green to red to off, just to avoid that noise with this one device, okay? All right. So that's that. Changing the batteries on here is very simple as well. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but there's a lock position and an unlock position, and then this moves back and forth. Now that's unlocked, that's locked, unlocked. Okay, then you squeeze, so you have to have little fingernails for this, right? When you squeeze it, it pops open. Sometimes it won't pop open, so you just take your fingernail and jam it underneath there and push like that, okay? You can pop these batteries out. Yeah? Great. And let me tell you how to know. Let me put it back in there and put it back in the lock position. Let me turn it back on again and show you how you know that the battery is low. You can see here, let me put that on mute actually, because you can hear a little bit of feedback, which we'll get into later. Now, you can see on the screen there's 4 dots. That means the battery's full. Now, okay, so let me show you one thing here. Let me turn it off. Let me pop the batteries out one more time. We should always be using either regular Duracells or the Quantum. I believe that's another Duracell product, right? You don't want to use anything else, because what happens is landmark sessions are typically 3 hours in the forum. I think in some courses it may even go to 4 hours, right? So these will last. If you have 4 dots, it'll definitely last that number of hours. If you have 3 dots, it'll still last. If you have 2 dots, I would not trust the batteries. You want to change it, okay? If you have 2 dots, 1 dot, or if it says low bat, then you want to change the batteries, right? Yeah, but if it's 4 or 3, it's usually just fine if you're using regular Duracells. If you have quantums, you can go even further, all right? So that's that. Okay, next we're going to talk about the operation of the handheld wireless microphones. Erin? Right. So here we have HH2 handheld 2, right? And to turn this one on, there's a button on the bottom which you hold and press. Now you can see that turn green. I don't know if that's showing up in the video well, but test 1, 2, you can see it's on pretty well. And if you want to mute it, you just press it again. Now there's no sound and it's red, right? And if you want to turn it off, make sure, like I said before, with the body pack mics, you want to be on red, but when you turn it off, you hold and press, and now that's completely off. You can see the screen went blank, okay? Let's turn that back on. Actually, let me demonstrate how to take out the batteries here. There's actually 3 places where this thing unscrews. There's the bottom, there's the middle, and then there's the top. So you want to do the middle one right here, right beyond the screen here, okay? You just rotate it, and then pull. And then the batteries are right there, and then you can just pull that out there like that, okay? And they come out. And when you put the batteries back, obviously you want to put the bottom one in there so you don't damage the spring, and then you put that one like that, right? Don't do the other way, otherwise you might damage the spring. When you put this one back, by the way, there's controls here just like on the body pack mic, but you never want to play with that, okay? Okay, you want to match screen to screen, put it back there. If you don't do that, it'll damage. Actually, this one's missing the little rubber thing here because somebody actually didn't do screen to screen. So just screen to screen and then rotate and you're good to go again. All right. So that's that. Okay, next we're going to demonstrate the usage of our third and final type of audio device, which is the hardwired microphones. So you have the mic stand, you have the microphone, and the microphone cable, right? Which is plugged into where it says mic. Okay, over there, where it says microphone, mic. Now this first step to making sure this is correct is you step here on the mic stand, and you're going to make sure this is Superman tight. The next one is this one, which controls the up and down motion of it. Do not make it Superman tight, otherwise you'll have to use the wrench, which is in the drawer, to unscrew it, which happens sometimes in the course. I'll show you the demonstration of the wrench in a little bit. But make sure that's just finger tight or moderately tight, okay? Actually, that's a little bit too low. I'm about 5'10", so I like it to come up to my mouth, and then you can adjust it according to your height, okay? And then, so make this moderately tight. Now notice how this is swinging just too easily. So let me just take this out, and this is already in the off position, because if it's in the on position and I'm playing with it, it's unpleasant to hear the noise. So I always turn it off first, then I play with it, okay? You just screw this so it's tight, and then I position this. Usually we like to put it at a diagonal with the corner of the stage, and we want it to face the center of the room. Okay, then I put this back in here, and I like to, you see how the cable, I want to make sure the cable's nice, so I tuck the cable under the stage, and then I put this here, okay? Now, come in a little bit closer here. Now look what's happening here. This happens often. There's a big gap there, so you always want to close that gap that was there, okay? And then you turn it. Well, actually, one more thing is you got to make sure that, so we tested the spitting this way, it was fine. Make sure it's not too bad, not too tight or not too loose this way. If it's tight or loose, come over here. There's a thing, you can take a dime and stick it in there, or a big screwdriver or whatever, and you can loosen or tighten it, okay? But this happens to be fine, okay? Then you turn it on like this, and then to make sure it's loud enough, you want to put your hand like this and keep that distance, and if it sounds good to an observer further away, then you're good to go. All right, and we'll demonstrate how to make this lower or softer as well as any of the other audio devices. and then you just make the other hardware microphone matching in height and make it all symmetrical, and you're good to go. Yeah. So I mentioned the wrench. We keep it here. If you see that the wrench is missing and someone put it in the toolbox in back storage, just keep it there at all times, right? It happened during a course where a couple of times where nobody could, loosen that the middle screw, so we had to go run around for this thing. So always keep it there. Okay, so demonstrating the wrench. First, turn this off, and then you're going to insert this here. If this is too tight, then you squeeze, and then you're going to turn it counterclockwise. Okay, and then never tighten it with this thing because that'll make it too tight. Always do finger tight over here. And then one last thing on this. If you want to take this out, there's a little button right here. You can push it and it just comes right out. Right, it's got 3 little holes, which matches to 3 little wires, and you just stick that right back in there again. Make sure once again there's no gap. And every session, the presentation manager should be checking to make sure that the gap is very little, and because sometimes I've seen this cable just fall right out during the course. All right? But these are new cables, so that probably won't happen for a while. And that's it. So there's going to be times when you're experiencing feedback or tinniness. Go ahead and say something. Let's talk on top of each other.
So
hello, 1, 2, 3.
Things.
Yes.
Testing. Yes.
So you can hear the tinniness there. And then sometimes you just want to turn up a microphone or turn it down because it's too soft or loud. Let me demonstrate that. So I'm wearing lav 2 and Erin is wearing lav 3.
Correct.
And of course each, in case the labels fall off, if you want to know which one it is, if you just start talking in it, you come over here. Now I'm talking. Erin, why don't you back off a little bit? Okay, great. Now as I'm talking, you can see this one's going up and down. So this is the one, so the label falls off, you know that this is lav 2, okay? And that doesn't always happen, but that happens most of the time. You can figure out which one it is. All right, great. So let's get this coming closer on the clear one. So I'm lav 2. Let me go back to the initial screen here. When you start off, it's probably going to start off here. And then you just hit select, and it always starts on channels. Just select that default. The next default is mics, just go there. And now you're going to rotate to the device that you want. So I'm lav 2. So you can see here, it says this is device number 6, which is lav 2, okay? Then I hit select. Now I care about this gain number. That controls the volume of this device, of lav 2. Now, if I try to adjust it, notice it keeps going back and forth between gain and mute. That's because I'm not actually in the gain menu. So I want to hit select. Now I'm in the gain menu, and now you can see I'm on -6. So so it's a number line. There's -6, and then there's positives this side, right? If I make it like -7, that's more negative, which means softer. -10 is softer. If I make it -5, that's louder than -6. If I make it 0, that's louder than -6. Make it 10, that's louder than -6. Okay? So because I'm too loud, let me make it softer. So I'm going to make it, let's just say -11, and that seems a lot better. Okay? Now, I can still hear a little bit of tinniness, which may not be picking up in the video, but so I'm going to turn down Erin's as well. Oh, but before I do that, to lock in this new setting, I hit select, and then I hit escape to get out of there. And now I'm going to rotate up to Erin's, this way. So hers is lav 3, so I hit select there, select again to get into the gain submenu. Now she's on +18. Now these numbers change as the tech support team changes it inside the device. They actually connect remotely, and they can change settings in the software. So the numbers here actually don't have any meaning. Just because hers is +18 and mine is -11 doesn't really mean anything, because these numbers are relative to whatever's the software setting inside. So all we know is that I'm feeding back with Erin, and there's 2 other devices that are active right now, which is the 2 hardwired microphones. So one of those 4 devices is too loud. So let's just make a guess that it's Erin's device. So I'm going to turn hers down. So she's on +18. I'm going to hit select to make sure I'm in the gain menu. Oh, apparently I was already in the gain menu. Let me go back there and hit select this time. Now I'm going to make it, so +18, let me take it down a few notches. So Erin, why don't you come over here? Let's see if we're still feeding back with each other. It's +14. go ahead.
Testing.
So that sounds a lot better, right? And now you hit select. If you don't hit select, sometimes it'll go back to its whatever was there before. And you can hit escape if you want to get out of that screen. Okay. And then one more note about this. So you have the HHs here, the handhelds, right? Now for the hardwired microphones, there's wired mic 1 and wired mic 2. Now those currently don't have labels on them. What you need to know about this is that all of the even numbered microphones are on the side of the room furthest from the rack. All the odds are on the ones closest to the rack. Okay, we'll get into that a little bit more, but basically, so the one, if you're facing the stage, the one, if you're facing the stage, the one on the right, which is closer to the rack, that's hardwired mic 1. So if I go over here to this menu over here, I go to wired mic 1 if I want to turn up or down the volume of the microphone that's on the right side of the stage if you're facing the stage. Okay? Now, when I said that, does it make any sense that, for example, I have lav 2, does it make any sense that that represents one side of the room or the other? It does only when it's in divide mode or combine mode, meaning that if the room is divided, lav 2 and lav 4 and HH2 and hardwired mic 2 will only work on the side of the room which is furthest from the rack. And then, and that's if the room is in divide mode. And I'll show you how to put it in divide mode versus combine mode in a second. And then, and then the side of the room that's closest to the rack, those are the odds. So lav 1, lav 3, hardwired mic 1, and HH1 will work on this side. So to do that, to put it in combined or divide mode, come over here. We have the wall plate here next to the rack. So right now it's in room combined. So if I hit room divide, okay, I just have to hold and press it. And then that becomes red. Now, what'll happen is, as I speak into my microphone, test 1, 2, we can hear this over test 1, 2. Can you hear it up here on this side? Let me talk a little bit about the numbering of the microphones. So like here we say lav 4, side 2. The side 2 refers to PONS 2. Okay, that's how it's labeled currently. The lav 3 body pack mic says lav 3, side 1. That refers to PONS 1. So, and then if you think about it, the hardwired microphones will also have a 1 and a 2. They're not labeled currently, but 2s are always PONS 2. So so hardwired mic 2 is on this side. If you're facing the stage, is towards the right. And then the hardwired mic 1 is on the other side towards Federal Highway, towards the main double doors. And so on the Clear 1 system, when you want to adjust the volume, if there's a participant at the microphone, and if you're facing the stage and the person's on the right and they're too low and you want to turn them up, you would go to the Clear 1, you would find wired mic number 2, because that's this faces this side, right? Okay, let's just say that the leader's body pack mic is not producing any sound. It's either a problem with his body pack mic, whether it's not on or the cable is loose, or we may have to give him a new body pack mic or cable. This will be handled by the course supervisor and typically not the presentation manager. Okay, so first we want to take a spare body pack mic before we go up there, perhaps on a paired share or something, or if it's in the middle of a session, you might say something like microphone, and then the leader will probably play with it, and if it's not working, then you go up and handle it. So you want to take with you a spare body pack mic just in case. Turn it on, put it on mute, pull the cable out, because we're not gonna change his cable just yet, right? So then we're gonna take it up front. I'm just gonna have this ready. Now we're gonna make sure that the leader's body pack mic is on green, which it is in this particular case. And then sometimes they didn't clip it on tightly enough, or it became loose. You just want to make sure that it's nice and tight, and then that might fix the sound problem right there. If it doesn't, then you want to put you want to say, can you mute your microphone and give me the microphone? So he's going to pull that out, and then either he's going to disconnect the cable, or you disconnect the cable yourself by pulling up on it like that. And then you're just going to swap this out. Give him the other one, and you're going to connect it for him, or he'll connect it himself, either way. And once again, you stick it right there and you spin it a little bit until you find the sweet spot, and boom, a nice click. And then you're going to turn it back on again.
Testing, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Great. Now make it red so he can put it back on his belt. And then have to put it back on green again. And then you walk away. Now, in the event that that didn't work, then you would actually change the cable out. So it's probably a good idea to bring the cable with you as well, just in case. Okay, there's one final note about audio. We've had a lot of issues with the cables getting broken, and these are $100 cables. So I want to just show you quickly how to put the cable away neatly. So typically what I do is I put my fingers like this, and I just start to rotate it like that, curl it up nicely so that it's nice and happy. And then what I do is I usually tuck the cable underneath this, the clip in the back, and I put it underneath the groove that exists right there, so it's nothing's pinched. Or another way that people do it is they wrap it like this, and I think that's okay. Make sure there's no kinks in the cable, and that should be okay as well. Now, there's two methods of securing the cable which are absolutely wrong. Okay? Never. These are tiger clips. They have teeth. I've seen people put the tiger clip on top of the cable, and this is actually biting into the rubber, and that's what's caused the destruction of these $100 cables a lot. The other thing, which is absolutely improper, I've seen people wrap it like this so that it's super tight along here. I don't know who's doing that. Please stop. Okay? And that's how you put away the cable. Thank you.